Welcome to a playoff edition of the Mercedes-Benz Rangers postgame show. And in a season where resilience has been their identity, the Rangers will now need to summon a double dose of it, or else. Rangers fans leaving Madison Square Garden wondering if they'll be back. A dream is on the brink after a 3-2 loss inside the Garden to the Florida Panthers. Hi, everyone. Inside our Delta MSG studios, John Giannone, Steve Valiquette, and Brian Boyle. Where do we begin? Because this was a game that stats would tell you and odds would tell you the winner of a 2-2 series who wins Game 5 wins the series 79% of the time. Those are now the odds the Rangers have to overcome.
I think the nerve-wracking part for the Rangers would be they didn't play a bad game and they didn't break through. So it doesn't make you feel any better. Florida had at least 5 chances behind the Rangers' D wide open, including 2 of their goals off of transition. And I think for the Ranger players, the star players, they went harder towards the net. They went harder towards the slot. Didn't create the big chances, though. And I think that's the hard part, because the breakthrough didn't come in a game that you played much better than you played in games 3 and 4. And I think that's frustrating for the top guys.
It is. It's definitely frustrating, and it's not easy, and it's never going to be easy from here on out for the rest of the playoffs. You have to understand, the thing that they fixed is a lot harder to fix than the mistakes that they made tonight. The mistakes they made tonight, communication errors or just lapse in judgment here and there, and it cost them. It hadn't cost them in the past. Igor has been that good. It cost them a little bit tonight. Those are actually easier to fix, I think, than what they had to, the improvements that they made from games 4 to game 5.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yep, and on a night where the Rangers get a 4-on-5 goal and a 6-on-5 goal with their net empty, it is a 5-on-5 goal with 9:38 left in the third period. That's the goal that gave the Panthers the lead. They'd score an empty netter. Rangers would add one after that. But that was really the goal that was a difference, because at the time it was 1-1 into the final 10 minutes. Yeah. Rangers had to have felt that with Igor Shesterkin in the net, they had the advantage. But it was Anton Lundell, at least for now, who gets the goal.
Yeah, and look, I think that it was the right idea for Roslovic to shoot far pad with Kakko driving the net. It's the right idea. It's a bouncy puck that gets over his stick, Kakko's stick, and it goes the other way quickly. You know what? I think if you want to run that play again, you'd run it the same way. You're doing the right things, but in transition, Florida capitalizes again, and it could have gone off of the stick of Tarasenko in front. We're not 100% sure yet, but it's a bit of a screen off Schneider. He's trying to play it. It looks to me like it does go off the stick. And the reason why I say that is because it wouldn't go through Shesterkin unless it hits something. He typically sets his frame up really big, and he's able to absorb that shot. Looked like he was reaching for it, and then it changed direction. You know, you couple that with the Forsling breakaway goal. Those were the 2 goals that mattered in this game for Florida. And from Shesterkin's perspective, that had another really good game. Mm-hmm. He had saved 8 breakaways going into this game before he got scored on by Forsling. He gave them a chance to win again. I mean, that's what he did.
He certainly did. And on that play in particular, you saw them get behind the Rangers' D a few times, and maybe they were backing off and didn't want to close too early. But I thought the D played that well. Sometimes that happens when you're giving up odd man rushes. The only critique I would say on the Roslovic shot is you can take a little bit off that. You're probably not going to score from there. Mm-hmm. Those rebounds can get dangerous. They can be shotgun starts the other way. But that's very nitpicky of me.
Yeah, it is. But it is, but it's the right idea. It would be like a 75% shot so the rebound doesn't fly through everybody as they're attacking.
And if you're driving, you can maybe throw it to the top of the crease where either Bob has to extend or it could hit a defenseman's skate, whatever. You're not scoring from there is the point. So you don't have to necessarily shoot it as hard. Mm-hmm. There are a number of different things you can cut up and nitpick in this game. I did think the energy was there. I thought the defensive zone was much better. They were able to go on the attack because their energy level was higher. I thought their big dogs were trying to get into the middle of the ice more, shoot more, create more. And I thought their penalty kill was outstanding.
Yeah, and that does bear mentioning. It was a far better game than what we saw in the 2 games in Florida, games 3 and 4, but still bears repeating, as I just mentioned, they did not score at 5-on-5.
They didn't get any chances,
To
John.
which do we owe that? Is it still what the Rangers aren't doing well enough, or is it just Florida is that stout?
What I think, and I wonder how much you agree, Florida looks long, fast, big. And they are on you quickly. Fox receives the puck at the blue line where he typically has some time and space, and there's 2 on him. And actually, the one question I have for you, Boiler, why does it look to me like Florida has 2 going to 1, but the Rangers aren't as successful getting behind them if they would have numbers behind Florida? You know what I mean?
Florida's playing quicker. So their wingers are a little tighter to the D in New York. And that is a system that they're playing. They're very good with their 3 down low. It's hard to penetrate. They do come back. Look, Florida's a heavy team. They're hard. They're battling. And every 50-50 seems to be kind of going their way when it's a dangerous area of the ice, it seems. So, look, it's hard to penetrate. They're a very good defensive team. They have been all year. They don't give up any goals, and they didn't all year. There's a reason for it, and they have enough skill to counterpunch if they have to. But I think you can still get to Bob, and there's certain schemes they could probably get away with just to create a little bit more confusion and make Florida be in their end longer. The longer they're in their end, they haven't been a lot this series. The longer they're in their end, they're going to make mistakes, or at least, take penalties, because you need the volume. That's volume from every team. Nobody goes through it and gets caved in all game long and wins a series or wins 2 rounds or 3 rounds.
Right. They just didn't get the clean looks. You go back on the scoring chances, you could talk about the Trocheck in all alone, but it wasn't clean. Hedl in all alone, but it wasn't clean. There was certainly no time and space. I think that would be the frustrating part about this game. The takeaway for the team is we just didn't get any clean looks.
A guy who was in all alone and scored 2:04 into the second period was Chris Kryder. His first goal of this series after the hat trick in Game 6 in Carolina. It was a shorthanded goal that gave the Rangers the lead. Let's begin our post-game reaction from the Rangers dressing room with a frustrated Chris Kryder.
And every game's been super close like that, so it's obviously a very tight game, so just got to continue to get pucks and bodies to the net and not let it all come out of the wash.
Chris, can you talk about the task now going back to Florida, down 3-2, but knowing that your squad has always played well on the road and has always played well in these situations?
Win a game. Go down there, win 1 game. Play our best game and give ourselves a chance.
The kind of cliches you'd expect when a team is down 3-2 in a series. The frustration perhaps building from the fact that the Rangers were 16-1 at the Garden this year in 1-goal games. But this is one that they don't win in a game that, because of the odds and because of the hill to climb now, just how difficult a task it's going to be. You heard him say the cliche that you sometimes hear in September, which is pucks and bodies to the net. Easier said than done against this team?
I think so, because once again, what did we see? We saw that somebody was always in the lane, and when they got it through, this was a game that Bobrovsky saw a lot from the point. There wasn't a lot of dense traffic. When it did get through, I thought there was a lot of shots, Boiler, where I would say, guys, maybe off net is better than to net if it's a clean view right at the goalie.
Especially the low to high, strong side point shot floaters. If he can just catch it, I'd say throw Berger behind the net.
Yeah.
Especially on this ice tonight. If it hits the boards, it can bounce around. You can cause a lot of confusion. They're not looking for breakaways. I don't think that's what you go into a game looking for. I think they want to control territory, and they did take a step forward in that. And I agree. I know it's cliche, but I agree with Chris Kryder. It's not the end of the world that they lose Game 5, but it should have a really bad taste in your mouth through probably dinner time tomorrow.
Yeah, we've talked about shot attempts and how they have been in recent games indicative of the way the game has gone. This one as well. The Panthers had 71 attempts. The Rangers had 70, so there were opportunities there. 37 more shots got to goal, including the empty netter. Igor Shesterkin allowed only 2. It was another game that you could really legitimately ask, where would the Rangers have been without him?
Look, I'd say he was all the way on. Again, 8 breakaways coming into this one. The Forsling goal, he gets a big piece of it as it goes over his pad and then goes to the upper part of the net. But he did the right thing. He was all over the puck. He was sharp, and the outcome for any goalie in a game like this, under this stress and pressure of the series, is to give your team a chance to win. Igor certainly did that and then some. He was left all alone. Like, as I said, 5 times, I have written it down 5 times here in this game, and he came up big on all of them and was able to really show a lot of bite. I remember this play right here where he gets in the face of Tkachuk afterwards. He plays better, a little bit angry. When he gets upset, he gets fired up, and it seems to help him focus and channel his anger into more saves. But these are the in-all-alone plays that I'm referring to, and he didn't go first. That's the main thing. It's such a difficult thing to explain to a young goalie where you have to be comfortable with allowing the player in front of the net to get a little bit ahead of you before you take it away. And he was compact. So to me, he played another A game. That's another A game. And boy, oh boy, is it hard when you play A games and you don't get wins for 3 of them.
It can be a little disheartening, and as a team, you feel that. I mean, that's something that the team knows and recognizes, and I think there's a couple players that have, left a little bit to be desired there on the back end for the Rangers tonight. They understand that. I'm sure they're going to bounce back. It's too difficult not to have everybody, especially against a Florida Panthers team that went through all the way to the Cup Finals last year and lost to a team that does a lot of the same things that Florida's doing right now.
Yeah. Mika Zibanejad had assists on both Rangers' goals, primary assists, but he now extends his streak of no goals to 10 consecutive games. Let's get the reaction from the dressing room from Mika Zibanejad lamenting the razor-thin edge in this series.
Another close game. I think there's a 5-7 minute period in the third where I think they get going and they get some chances and we don't get out of our own zone and being able to play our fast hockey and kind of get on the forecheck. But I thought we had some chances to make it 2-1 before that happened, and they scored a 2-1 goal, and we're trying to chase a game-tying goal, and that wasn't the case today, but just regroup and get ready to go down there and win a game.
Turn around, Pat.
Dave.
Thoughts from Mika Zibanejad inside the Rangers dressing room after the 3-2 loss to the Florida Panthers. We talked a little bit about the need for the top guys, Zibanejad, Kryder, Panarin, to do more in this game. We talked the 2 assists for Zibanejad. Kryder gets the shorthanded goal. Panarin was very active, but again, just not enough from the most important players.
I got to be maybe a little delicate, but if we're talking about razor-thin margins and we're talking about the littlest thing can lead to one play, one puck, a goal, a big moment in a game. There's things that you need to understand when your goalie's pulled, especially, and it's not looking for calls. You got to go into battles, especially when the puck's in the neutral zone where you're very vulnerable, and get in there and do anything you can to win that puck or at least stall it. So there's different things. He came back with an assist, made a great play. You'd say, oh, it's evened up. It needs to come, especially in an elimination game, it needs to come from the start. I hear him talking about the forecheck. I think he needs to cut through the middle of the ice in Game 6 and be on the forecheck first a lot. He's a big body. He can move well. He's got a great stick. He's going to open up his line mates if he does that actively. It doesn't have to be find the guy back door. It doesn't have to be make all these fancy moves. There has to be a certain will to it, especially from your big dogs, and then it's going to trickle down. We see it on the bottom 6. I see guys doing a lot of good things. I know they're all trying really, really hard, and I'm not trying to say they're not, but little things add up to big things, and they're magnified at this time of year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to hear what the head coach has to say. Stay with us. We're just getting started on the Mercedes-Benz Rangers postgame show. Peter Laviolette is going to be at the podium. He'll talk all about this 3-2 loss and plenty more when we come back.